comes to reviewing watches for a living, of course there's going to be some watches that I really like, some watches that just totally disgust me, and some that surprise me. And here we have the Unison Orbital watch, and I gotta be honest, at first I didn't think I would like this, at all. Turns out, this thing is f***ing awesome. It is 3:03 p.m., let's get down to business. Okie dokie, we are done. What are you doing here? I feel like you should be watching the review, right? That's what you came here for. I don't know why you're creeping around my office. I don't really have anything to show you. Here, off camera, we have a bunch of lint rollers. Like, we have this rack here that you sometimes see in the episodes filled with lint rollers. We have an Amazon subscription to these because I'm always on camera for the various channels, and I'm usually covered in cat hair, so I have to look somewhat presentable to people, like if I go to a meeting or if I'm on camera. I have a slew of these GoPro mounts in the office because for the T3 Time to Drive channel, these are always getting lost or broken. They're falling off the cars, tumbling around the road. So this is really important. I'm wearing my Seiko Tuna SBBN 031, one of my favorite everyday watches. Backpack, Carl Frederick, Bowen leather backpack. Absolutely love this thing. It goes everywhere with me. You know, when you have like good products, a reliable wristwatch, a good backpack, you don't have to worry about the things that you have on you. You can just get up and go. I'm an on-the-go professional, if you will. And it's just nice to have nice things, nice, reliable, well-made things. And it clears my mind, and I'm able to focus on the things that matter, like how the missile knows where it is at all times. It knows this because it knows where it isn't. By subtracting where it is from where it isn't, or where it isn't from where it is, whichever is greater, it obtains a difference or deviation. The guidance subsystem uses deviations to generate corrective commands to drive the missile from a position where it is to a position where it isn't. Just things like that, just important things. I have like laptops and camera lenses and notebooks and pretty much everything I've carried in this thing. And again, I've worn it for like 3 months and it looks great. I've worked with Carl Frederick in the past, and their products are incredible. Stitching's great. Zippers don't fall apart. There's like no wear and tear, even though I've thrown this around everywhere, like in Ubers, in freaking buses, like wherever I go, this thing is on me. Right now I just have peanut butter and some Valium. I'm just getting ready for a meeting, so just the usual. All right, guys, well, just go ahead and lock up when you leave. Okay, so here we have the Unison Orbital, and I suppose this is somewhat space-themed. I mean, you could argue that the logo right below the 6 o'clock is kind of like a sun, maybe, and then, like, you could say, I guess, the indexes, they're nipple indexes. Oh! They're kind of round and, well, look, maybe they're planets. I don't know. It looks really, really cool, and there's some more round themes going on with this watch. We're going to talk about it in just a second. But first, I want to remind you guys about my channel memberships. Real quick, if you want to go above and beyond and support this channel, the easiest way to do it is join YouTube's Patreon, essentially. You click the join button next to the subscribe button. It's like $4.99 a month. You get access to the members only Discord chat, which is buzzing 24/7, and you get an extra piece of content each and every week from yours truly. So if you want a place where you can directly DM me and interact with me just in real time, again, that membership access is the place to be. So please click the join button next to the subscribe button and become a certified T3 bot. So this watch is, you know, definitely futuristic without being totally off-putting, right? We've seen some really unique out there watches that are things that I really wouldn't wear. Whereas this is still different enough to be unique, but it's still like refined enough to be worn every day, and people aren't going to look at it and be like, what the is that? So you know how I mentioned like the round themes, the orbital themes? Well, when we look at the profile of this watch, you can see there's like a curve going on with the case and end links and crystal. and it makes almost a perfect circle. And I know you could say that with all watch bracelets, but there's something about this that is very concave. And there's a benefit to that. This watch wears very close to the wrist, which makes this incredibly comfortable. Like, ridiculously comfortable to wear. So before we get too much further, let's go ahead and jump into the specifications. The case and bracelet are 316L stainless steel, which is pretty standard. You're looking at a 40 millimeter case diameter, a 45 millimeter lug to lug. It's 13 millimeters thick. This is powered by a premium Miyota movement, and I believe it's a 9039, so you are getting that 28,800 BPH sweep. Sapphire crystal in the front, obviously not in the back because this is not a display case back. Instead, you're getting an engraving of kind of the same theme of the dial but on the back. So you're getting all the little indexes and you're getting that like spiral logo, which is also engraved onto the signed crown. This has some superluminova lume. We're going to be talking about that in a moment. It has a 100 meter water resistance rating with a threaded crown, and you can get all of this for well under $500. Check, 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 check. Gotta test the mic, people. So now that we know the specs, how is this watch actually? Well, for that, we got to jump into the pros and cons. Pros. Because of the overall shape, as I mentioned earlier, the end links, the case, and even the crystal, like making it seem even more concave, it's a very pleasant watch to look at from the side profile, but also because of the end links and the case, it wears incredibly close to the wrist, which makes for a, like, this is the least cumbersome watch that I've worn in a very, very long time, and it's just incredibly comfortable. The bracelet is very mobile, and it's not at all a hair puller. So I guess the first pro would be it looks good, but it's also incredibly comfortable. Next pro, the dial and handset. It's just very, very unique and pleasant to look at. And again, you're getting like the metal, like almost metal grain, like a swirled polish on the center dial. And I guess technically you could say this is a sandwich dial, but it's just so dynamic and unique. And the blued handset on this variant is just, you know, incredibly pleasant. I'm a sucker for light dials and blued hands. Let's just, come on. The next pro is going to be confusing because although I'm putting it in the pros, it's actually kind of a con also. Allow me to explain. So the lume design is very, very cool. I'm going to say that's a pro. It's like so cool how they chose to design the lume. But there's another part of the lume that we got to put in the cons. We'll wait for that. But there's two last pros. This watch is a definite contender when it comes to everyday sports watches. Like, we took a look at one last week with the Pittsman 2. That was just under $1,000. This is like 50% less. And you know, it's still threaded crown, 100 meter water resistance rating, sporty, but you could put it on a strap and dress it up a little bit, and it's very, very unique. So while the Pittsman 2 was an everyday sports watch, more so competing with like an Aquaterra, this is much more unique and kind of less tame without being like totally off-putting. And it's cheaper, right? I guess that's the final pro. Like well under $500 for this. That's awesome. Okay, so now to the cons. The first con is what I've already alluded to. Although the design for the lume is really cool and interesting, how it all connects, the application of the lume is just, it's just not vibrant. It was very dim, at least in this example. And again, this is a media piece, so take from that what you will. The next con I would say is drilled lugs, or the lack thereof. I would have liked drilled lugs on this watch. And the final con is that although I think that this is still kind of refined enough to not be too out there and bizarre, I think this isn't tame enough for some people out there, and they would look at this and say that it's just a bit much. But again, it's because there is some truly unique dynamic, design language going on with the dial and handset and how it all works together. I think it's very cohesive. I think that it's very deliberate, but it still might, not be normal enough for some people out there. All in all, I think this Unison Orbital is like absolutely a contender for someone who wants an everyday sports watch, but is not interested in like conventional safe designs, right? They want something that's a bit more eye-catchy and different, but they still want the versatility and wearability of a sporty everyday watch that you don't have to baby, right? It has a threaded crown and a decent water resistance rating with that sapphire crystal. It's just, you know, a fun watch for well under $500. So yeah, if you're into that, check out the Unison Orbital. All right, guys, another Microbrand Monday in the books. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. Again, if you want to support the channel, please check out the channel memberships. It's like the price of a cup of coffee nowadays each month, and you get access to the members-only Discord chat and an extra piece of content every single week. So we really do appreciate that. Like, my channel members are the only reason I can do this full time, so I really do appreciate it. Also, we may have already done a restock at the shop. If not, we're about to, so stay tuned for that. TheTimeTellerShop.com, the number one place to find affordable vintage luxury watches, and we have a whole bunch of content on a whole bunch of channels. T3 Time to Drive, this channel, Beverly Hills Shrink, and we're starting up the podcast again. So thank you for supporting me on all my endeavors. I will catch you on the next one. Stay happy, stay healthy, stay blessed. I'm Jory Goodman, the Time Teller, and always remember, I didn't invent time. I just tell it.